Hey kindergarten friends, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to teach you how to make ravioli. So we're going to do two things today. We're going to make a dough for our ravioli, and then we're going to make the inside of our ravioli. So for your dough, here's what you'll need. Some flour, olive oil, salt, and eggs. And then for the filling, you're going to need spinach. I know, if you don't like spinach, I get it, but I promise it's going to be yummy. And a couple different cheeses. We're going to use a Parmesan cheese and a ricotta cheese. First, I'm going to teach you how to make that dough. For your pasta dough, you're going to need 2 cups of flour, 3 eggs, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to mix the salt and the flour together really well. And you can use a whisk. I'm just going to use a fork. I'm going to mix that really well. That should be good. Next, I'm going to mix my olive oil with my 3 eggs. I'll pour that right in. And I'll take my fork and I'll whisk those together. Next, on a clear and clean surface, maybe your kitchen counter or a table, pour your flour and salt mixture on top and create something called a well. A well is just when you stick your hand in the middle and you make like a little dip in the flour. Like that. Now, maybe a little wider. Now you're going to take your egg mixture and pour it into the middle of your well. And you're going to start mixing that around so that the flour and the eggs get mixed together. Notice how I'm keeping my eggs in the middle of the well, and I'll slowly push flour in a little bit at a time. I'm going to keep going until I have a ball of dough. When it starts getting too tricky for your fork to mix that dough around because it's clumping up, go in with your hands. Start pushing all of the flour in and use your hands, to mix the dough together. I'm going to scoop and push, scoop and push, scoop and push. If your dough feels a little too dry, maybe add a tablespoon of water. I'm going to do that now. You have a ball of dough like this. I want you to shape it into a ball even more, into like a sphere like I taught you. And get some saran wrap and let your dough rest. I'm going to put my ball of dough in saran wrap, wrap it up really well, and I'm going to let it sit and rest for about 30 minutes to an hour. Alright friends, as we wait for our dough to rest, we're going to make the cheese mixture that goes inside. You're going to need 2 cups of spinach, a tablespoon of olive oil to cook your spinach with, 1 cup of ricotta cheese, and half a cup or 1 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. I only do half a cup because I think that's a lot of cheese, but you can do more if you like Parmesan. I'm going to go take this over to the stove and I'm going to cook it in a pan over medium heat. You might need some help with this from an adult. After your your spinach is finished cooking and it's wilted the way I showed you, let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes so it cools off. Chop it up, and then you're going to mix your 1 cup of ricotta, 1/2 cup of parmesan, and your chopped up spinach together in a bowl. I'll show you that next. Now it's time to work with our dough again. It's been about 30 minutes for me. I'm gonna get my surface ready by sprinkling it with flour so that my dough doesn't stick, okay? I just went to grab a rolling pin because you're going to need one. And now you're gonna work with your dough in 4 parts. So I'm gonna take my knife, a knife, and I'm going to cut it in 4 parts so it's easier for me to work with. The parts I'm not working with, I'm going to wrap it back up inside my saran wrap so it doesn't get dry. Now what you're going to do is you're going to roll it as flat as you can. I'm going to do that now. You want your dough so flat that when you lift it up, you could see the shadow of your finger through it. I don't know if you can see it on the other side, but I could definitely see my fingers through this dough. So I'm going to set this aside and do another piece of dough. Okay friends, here is the fun part. Remember that spinach and cheese mixture we made earlier? Now we get to put it on the dough, and then we're gonna start shaping our ravioli. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take little balls and put them onto the dough. I'll put my, that's the bottom sheet of dough. Then I'll lift my other dough and put it on top. And then I'll use a knife to cut it into the shape of a square. And then a fork to press down on the edges to seal it up. I'll show you that right now. Now with the fork, you're gonna press around the edges to seal them up so that when you cook them, they don't open. This is the fun part. I always like doing this part. And when you make ravioli at home, sometimes they're way bigger than the ravioli you get at the store, even at the restaurant. But that's okay, because you made it. Some of my ravioli are really big and some are really small. But I tried my best. And that's all that counts. You want to be careful not to do too much filling, or be careful to put the filling right in the middle, because look at what happened to this one. It started squishing out on the sides. That's okay. I can still cook it and eat it. It just doesn't look as pretty. You see my dough scraps here? I don't want those to go to waste. So I'm going to start working on my next little 1/4 of dough, and I'm going to make more ravioli with the rest. And by the time that you're all done, you should have about 24 ravioli, hopefully. Friends, your very last step is to cook your ravioli. So grab a large pot, fill it up with water, add lots and lots of salt, and boil your ravioli for 5 minutes. Once that's finished, take them out and have them with your favorite sauce. I'm gonna have mine with a white sauce, but you can have it with a marinara sauce too. Okay, have fun making ravioli. Share with me some pictures and videos if you decide to do it at home. See ya.